If you have BPD, chances are you struggle with emotional reactivity. So I'm going to tell you 3 strategies to help with emotional reactivity so that you can gain greater control of your emotions in your interpersonal interactions. All 3 strategies are based on the concept of mindfulness, which is a core concept in DBT, but not the woo-woo mindfulness where you have to be a Zen master and spend hours or days or whatever learning how to meditate and that kind of thing. If you can do that, that's great. My brain doesn't work that way. So I've got 3 different strategies that are based on mindfulness that will help you just take a pause and gain a little bit of control over your central nervous system and your reactions so that you can respond versus react. So the first strategy is minding the gap. So if you've ever been on a train, when you step off the train onto the platform, usually on the platform there, it says mind the gap. That's what we're doing. We're just trying to create a little pause before you respond. Don't feel like you have to respond immediately. Time is not of the essence for every single response. Sometimes we need to respond immediately, but a lot of times we can think about it and come back to it later. So give yourself that time to pause and reflect versus reacting right away and then doing something you have to make amends for later. So what you're going to do is you're going to mind the gap. And that just means you're going to pause for a second and think about, okay, what's the shortest distance between 2 points? How do I want this interaction to go? How do I want to feel about myself when the interaction is done? How do I want to feel about the other person when the interaction is done? And how do I want to feel about the relationship when this interaction is done? So it's just enough to pause, take a deep breath, take a couple if you need to, and then respond to what's in front of you versus reacting. So just learning to mind the gap. Now, another strategy is aversion therapy. So another way to be mindful and respond versus react is to put on your wrist like a rubber band or a hair tie or an elastic of some sort. And whenever you have a strong emotional reaction to something and you don't want to react in that moment or do something that you might regret or say something you can't take back, you're just going to flick that little band on your wrist. And it's enough to just sort of right the central nervous system and give you pause so that you can take a deep breath and be more mindful in your response. So that's aversion therapy. Whenever that intense emotionality comes on, we do a little flick. Don't hurt yourself, like don't be ridiculous about it, but just a little flick so that it kind of gets your attention and reminds you of your goals as you're trying to work through emotional reactivity. The third strategy, so we talked about minding the gap, aversion therapy. The third strategy is name 5 things. So what that is you just stop before you respond, take a deep breath, look around, and just in your mind, name 5 things that you see. So vase, flowers, books, bookend, bookshelf, right? So you just take just those couple of seconds to name 5 things around you and let that be a way to sort of redirect your nervous system. Again, when we're looking at reactivity in BPD, it's not always super simple. But if you can learn to practice mindfulness strategies, just simple strategies like this, that just give you that second or minute of pause, then you're going to get better at responding versus reacting over time. Which of these strategies do you think would be the most helpful for you? Drop that in the comments for me. And if you have other strategies that you like to use, please put them in the comments and share them with all of us.